Hi, we've gone live. Sorry, you caught me reading my brand new book. Let me just mark my page here. Let me show you the title. Sacred Economics by Charles Eisenstein. Really, really cool. If you're interested in changing your view on money, on our economic situation, and basically getting to grips with the subject of today's topic, which is changing the paradigm, this book is a must read. This man has beautifully and articulately articulated even a lot of the things that I've been thinking about, and I know that many people out there have been thinking about. So I'm Linda Ensley from Love Lali. This is the Lounge Room Chat, and I am continuing the exploration on how we can make a paradigm shift. It's time to create a new normal. The way our society currently operates, with the whole idea of imbalance in our energies and keeping everybody's eyes fixed on the prize, which is newest, best, shiniest, most recent, current, and not giving a damn about where it comes from, what it's doing to the society, what it's doing to the planet that we live on. This way of thinking, this way of being a human on the planet Earth is overdue for change. Okay, so that's basically where I'm coming from. So if you're tapping into the Lounge Room Chat today, I'm actually going to start exploring one of the foundational cornerstones, I guess, probably the keystone in the arch of today's society, which is money. And, you know, when we start talking paradigm shift, there are so many facets to look at, and it's not going to be, oh, let's just change the way we do things and it's done overnight. Don't get me wrong, I am not so much an idealist that I believe that that will happen, but I do believe if people like you and me don't start voicing our view and start modelling behaviour for change, then nothing will change. And obviously, we are not alone. We are not alone in this. There are other people out there who have put considerable time, thought and effort into exactly the things that we've been discussing. So change is coming, and we can do our bit to ensure that the changeover is smooth, filled with compassion, and brings everyone along. It's not just for the privileged white people living in Western society, you know, if that's the way you want to look at it. Our world is for everybody. Our resources are for everybody. And the way we manage this planet needs to be an agreement made by all of us, and not just something that we regret handing to our children. Okay, so as some of you may be aware, I am a healer. I'm also a career shift mentor, and part of the package that I bring talks about money. I am actually a personal financial fitness coach, and you may have heard me speak with one of my coaching partners, Susan Whelan, who operates the Prosperity Game, and we're in that together. Susan more often than I am. And in that arena, we talk about money mindset and we talk about money myths. And, you know, so one of usually our money mindset boils down to three basic components. There's never enough. That's just how it is for people like us. And I'm not worthy. For whatever reason, money doesn't come to me because I'm not worthy. And I see we're starting to get some people joining in. Just drop me a comment. Let me know you're here and where you're tuning in from. Say g'day. And if you are feeling brave and you want to come in and have a chat, the guest link is in the description above. You're most welcome to come in. I've got plenty of room in here. I think we can fit 10, I think it is, in the lobby. Or maybe it's only 3. Anyway, if you want to come and join me, feel brave, come on in. Let's have a chat about money and what we can do to start making change to our money. And, you know, this is such a broad and powerful concept that seeps into just about every aspect of our life. You can't really isolate money from every fibre of your being and every aspect of your world. It's just so closely interwoven. And luckily for me, Charles Eisenstein has obviously sat and put a lot of thought into this, and he really clearly articulates some of the things that I stumble with. So anyway, getting back to the money mindset, he proposes that money actually reinforces the idea of scarcity, that it's money itself that generates that idea of there not being enough, that has reduced the value and the quality and the abundance of the world around us to mere commodities where quantity overrules quality. And there's the idea of there's never enough. But then on the flip side of that, there's also the idea that we don't need to take care of what we've got, because if it breaks, we will just chuck it out and get another one. So, you know, the worth of things has been reduced because they've become a commodity that you can just replace it when it's no good to you any longer, or upgrade it, or whatever the case may be. So one of the money myths that often comes up when we do money mindset work is money is the root of all evil. And as I was just alluding to, Charles Eisenstein specifically states that money is the root of all scarcity. Now, I don't know that he says that in quite as bold a context as that, but I will read to you chapter 3, just an opening paragraph there. I won't read the whole chapter because, you know, we'd be here till dinner time probably. But just this opening paragraph kind of gives you the concept that he's trying to get across, and that I'm not explaining particularly well here. And so chapter 3 is called Money and the Mind. And the first paragraph is, the power to induce a collective hallucination of scarcity is only one of the ways money affects our perceptions. This chapter will explore some of the deep psychological and spiritual effects of money on the way we see the world, on our religion, our philosophy, even our science. Money is woven into our minds, our perceptions, our identities. That is why, when a crisis of money strikes, it seems that the fabric of reality is unraveling too, that the very world is falling apart. Yet this is also cause for great optimism, because money is a social construction that we have the power to change. What new kinds of perceptions and what new kinds of collective actions would accompany a new kind of money? Aren't they great questions? They're fantastic. You know, here is the opportunity for us to really sit down and think about, if we had that magic wand and we had the power to change the world, and we got to start with money, how would that world develop? How would we progress from here? What would you know, a world run by sacred economics actually look like? So that's a really big concept to get your head around, you know, that money actually causes, is a part of, and perpetuates the idea of scarcity. Let's start with that. I'd love to hear what people think. Now, I can see there's a couple of reactions here, but I can't see who's actually joined, and I can't see any comments on my phone. Yes, I've learnt the trick of tapping into my phone to monitor things, because yeah, I'm not real quick on the uptake with the Be Live platform, keeping across who's where doing what. So are there any thoughts about this at the moment? Or it could be that people have dropped out and I'm actually in the echo chamber alone, in which case I guess that means I get to answer my own questions. So if we got to change the idea of what money is and what it does, what would that look like? If money actually is the cause of, an integral part of, and a mechanism that perpetuates this idea of scarcity, how do we deal with that? What do we do? How do we start? You know, there's so many things that are tied in with money, particularly the idea that, you know, the worth and the value that we tie to money. When in this day and age, you know, the physical money that we receive actually does not have a value. You know, it got decoupled from the gold standard I think it was in the 19th or 20th century. I'm not real good on history with my dates, but, it's no longer tied to a gold standard. So for many people, the idea of money having worth, it's really only what we say it's worth. And these days, with the advent of cryptocurrency and the fact that that's actually coming through, and I reckon it's probably going to disrupt the mainstream banking system and the mainstream economic flow of currency. And really, what's cryptocurrency? It's bits and bytes in, what's this thing called? The laptop? Out there in ether space of computer land. It's not actually real. It's just zeros and ones. So what do we do about that? Do we continue buying into the belief that this thing has power, this thing has value, or do we start looking at different ways of placing value on what each of us actually brings and contributes to society, and how we can enrich our planet by our very existence? And so one of the other concepts that Charles Eisenstein actually starts putting forward right at the beginning of the book was the idea of money being an agent of separation. And so many of you on the spiritual pathway will be cognizant with the concept of the great separation, when soul comes down to earth, that we're no longer part of the divine, that there is this idea of separation, that we are alone. And so this whole idea of coming back into unity as part of our life pathway is something many of us are embracing as we come to understand that there's more to life than what we see in our physical world. And so how do we tie that concept into bringing meaning back into our commercial exchange? I mean, obviously, we can't just stop using money one day and expect to continue life as we know it the next day. There is a period of transition there, but I think it's time that we actually started having robust conversation about this topic. It's not just going to magically happen. It's not about us sitting back and waiting for those in power to make a decision for us, because they're going to perpetuate the system as it is, because that's the way it suits them. And it doesn't suit us, doesn't suit the rest of the world. So it's time to make a change. And I think the first step in making that change is doing what you can in your own personal financial world to bring stability, safety, and a feeling of comfort into your own finances. Okay, and there are a number of different ways that you can do that. There are many resources out there on the internet. You've probably heard of things like the Barefoot Investor. He's got a really great book and a wonderful Facebook community. There are resources out there. There are also people like me, and I'm not alone. There are many other financial fitness coaches, money counselors, money mentors, financial advisors, although the work that I do is definitely not in the realm of financial advice. That's way outside my scope. But, I think it is beholden on all of us to really stop and look at what we're doing in our own financial world and start looking at the changes that we can make in our spending habits, the way we value the things that we purchase. And, there is a difficulty here, because this is one of my favourite bugbears. When you go and buy a new appliance, like, for instance, a washing machine, once upon a time you'd buy a washing machine and it would last you for 20 years, maybe more. And if there was a problem with it, you could ring a repair person and they would come out and repair your machine. These days, you're lucky to get repair work that actually costs less than buying a new appliance. It's just crazy. It's actually cheaper for you in your household budget for you to replace an appliance than it is to repair it. Ridiculous when you look at the number of resources that go into making those particular items for us. You know, these shouldn't be fast food consumer items. They should be something we treasure and value and look after. But we're not being geared that way. So anyway, off on a little tangent there. So I think the first step in making change in the realm of money is to look at your own personal financial world and to really put it down on paper, shine a big bright light on it, look into the scary dark places that you half acknowledge exist, but you don't actually want to go there because it is scary. Get that all out of the cupboard, put it out on the table, turn the light on and have a really close look at what you're doing in your own personal financial world, okay? And be kind and be gentle on yourself, because you've made money decisions up until now based on the information that you've had up until now, the financial literacy that you inherited from your parents and their parents, and from, you know, making choices with the best information you had at the time that you made those choices. Okay, so that's step one. Step two is to actually look at what drives your money consciousness. Okay, have a think about where you can make choice about expenditure and start designing your life and making conscious choice about expenditure rather than just going out there and bumbling along. Many of us do make conscious choice, but many of us don't. So this is an opportunity to change that particular pattern. Once we start becoming really conscious about where we're choosing to send our money, we can really sit back and have a look at the way the whole of the world is operating and look at how, if we change our behaviour and educate the next generations coming through to change their behaviour, the snowball effect starts to happen. Eventually, ultimately, and I think once, you know, we've reached, I think it's 20 million people is the tipping point. Once there's more than 20 million people in the world really having a look at their spending behaviour, looking at their financial literacy, making conscious choice about expenditure, then we will see a change in the way our financial world is currently operating, and people will be able to stand up and say, what's really important here is developing an economy that supports society across the board, not just society that fits certain tick boxes. Okay, it's really important that our economy is fair and equitable and accessible across the world. Okay, if we're a global economy, let's make it a global economy that supports the globe. Okay, so that's one aspect of it, that we make agreements that our new economy supports our environment and protects other species. Okay, it's not okay for us to continue just using the planet's resources willy-nilly to keep feeding our ever-increasing need for bigger, better, best. We don't need bigger, better, best. We need to appreciate what we've got. That's all. Appreciate what we've got and understand that the planet Earth is not a commodity. It's not a replaceable item. If we break this one, we're not going to get another one. You can't just go down the road, go to Woolies and buy a new planet Earth. It ain't going to happen. So we do need to be serious about making change. Okay, so it really does come down to agreement, and that's one of the premises that Charles Eisenstein makes in his book, that money is actually an agreement. It's what we've agreed to place value on. It's tokens of agreement that we have all agreed many thousands of years ago that this is how we are going to conduct economic transactions, and we agree to what that value is worth. So we can create a new economy that incorporates further agreements about what's of worth to us as human beings on the planet Earth. And I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure that that agreement includes the planet Earth itself. You know, there is nothing more valuable, more worthy, more worthwhile than Mother Earth. Without Mother Earth, we are nothing. There's no point in us being here. You know, consciousness put us here to experience life on this beautiful planet. And if that experience is about destroying the planet, then we need to really rethink what we're teaching consciousness. Okay, I'm getting myself talked into a little bit of a loop here. Let me just see if there are any comments coming through. If anybody has joined at the moment. I don't know, Annette, is that you, Annette? Are you in here having a listen? Pop in and say g'day if you are. I'd love to hear another point of view. You know, my own voice in the echo chamber is coming back to me, and I'm getting tongue-tied and tripped over in some of these concepts that are just actually mind-blowing, and they do need to be teased out and worked through, and for us to come to a place of agreement. And I think one of, you know, if you've tuned into any of my lounge room chats previously, you'll understand that I am all about us redressing the balance between the energies of bringing forward the divine feminine, bringing her out of the cupboard, back into the light, and empowering the voice of women, so that there is that beautiful interplay of divine energies. And when we've brought that beautiful divine feminine to the fore, it's then time and opportunity to heal this wounded masculine energy that is just creating havoc in our world and destroying the planet. So, you know, once we've got that happening, and we have someone has joined in. Hello, Karen Lee. Hello. Thank you for joining in. Definite need to respect Earth and become more conscious and aware of what we create. Absolutely. And, you know, I think this is part of the role. Now, I did talk about the sacred economy that needs to be developed, being inclusive of all, but the Dalai Lama has indicated, pointed the finger and said, Western woman, step up and save the world. I mean, that's not the actual quote, but that's, you know, the sentiment behind it. I think it's incumbent upon us to step up and really start addressing that imbalance of the energies, and to do what we can to heal the masculine in our world, so that we can actually have robust discussion about this and lucid, sane agreements drawn up about how we progress forward as a human race that actually takes in everything, our environment, our society, everything, you know, the worth of the human soul. So many of us are wandering around feeling completely worthless. It's tragic. It's a tragedy. So let's change that. Let's do what we can to change. Karen, would you like to click on the guest link and come in and have a chat? I'm so keen to have somebody leap in. I've had Adair come on before, and I know that she's a very practiced and experienced Be Live performer. She's actually the person who's taught me how to use Be Live. So it's really not scary. Come on in. The water's fine, so to speak. Let me just grab a drink of water. And if there are any other comments or questions, I'd love to see what they are. I don't know, Karen, I may have scared you off with the invite to come on in, but that's okay. I will get someone in here eventually. But, you know, this is such a big topic. Paradigm shift is a massive thing, and, you know, it's not like we've got, here's the starting point and everything will just fall step by step into place after that. But for my part of my vision, what I see being as really important is addressing that energy imbalance. Ah, Karen, you can come in for a few minutes, but watching a pot on the stove. I'm happy for you to join if you'd like to, if you feel that that's okay. And if you need to dash out and rescue the pot, go right ahead and do that, you know. Jump on in if you want to, that'd be lovely. So, you know, each of us are bringing beautiful gifts to the planet that are part of what's needed right now to make this shift. Okay. Karen, there should be in the description above the video, there is a guest link. If you click on that, I'm making the assumption that you're on a laptop or a desktop. If you're not, if you're actually on a mobile device, you do need to download the Be Live app, which is free, and then you can click the link and come on in that way. Hope that makes sense. I might need to put some instructions up there the next time I do a broadcast. That will be good. That keeps me on my toes. Yes, so getting back to what I was saying, each and every one of us brings something special to the planet right now, something that is required for healing, for growth, and for development. And, you know, it takes a little while sometimes for that purpose to make itself known and to start revealing itself in a way that you comprehend and understand, and that's all good. But, you know, understand that everybody else is out there doing the same thing. And if we make connection, if we get together, if we start discussing our ideas, the change will come, and it has to come. It just has to. I can feel it. I can feel it in the field. It's coming. So let's get in there and make change. Let's roll up our sleeves. Stop being scared of your own power. Step into the light and bring forth what's needed right now to make this paradigm shift. Oh, back on my soapbox. I love it. I'll just give Karen Lee a couple of more minutes just to see if she's able to connect in. I do understand that sometimes the technology is a bit glitchy and a bit tricky. She's also watching a pot, and we don't want any accidents happening just to be on Facebook. That would just be crazy. Facebook, schmacebook. Oh, I didn't say that. Facebook has been so kind to me lately. I really do appreciate this forum and this opportunity to share and to create community. It's really powerful. So, you know, any of you catching up on the replay who have felt that you're not able to, or that you felt constricted around your voice or are afraid of being seen, totally understand. It's taken me a very long time to get to this point to have the courage to do a live on Facebook, but you're in good company. There are many of us out there. Just connect in. This is the place to create community, to collaborate, to cooperate with each other, and to start modeling that change. We can start by the way we do business with each other. You know, the way we do business doesn't have to be the same as business is currently run. I know I get patronised quite a bit when I make statements like that when I'm talking to people who are firmly entrenched in the current paradigm, because they haven't quite had the opportunity yet to take a step back, draw a breath, and see that there is a glimmer of hope, a possibility that there's a different way to do things. It just takes stepping back to notice. So be kind and gentle on yourself, and be kind and gentle on the people you encounter on your pathway who haven't actually had the opportunity yet to notice that there's the possibility and opportunity to do it differently. After all, if we get down to nuts and bolts, this is a collective conscious delusion or illusion, if you like. We've all bought into this, and we're continuing to contribute to the way the world's running. Okay, that's absolutely fine, Karen Lee. You know, I will put better instructions in the video chat next time, in the video description next time, so that those who would like to join have a bit more support in how to do that. And I do understand that you were watching something on the stove anyway. So do you have anything else, Karen Lee, that you wanted to contribute just at this point in time? Because we're actually just about out of time for today's Lounge Room Chat. I like to keep it contained to the 30 minutes so that people tuning in, either live or for the replay, know that if they've set aside 30 minutes, then they're going to get, you know, the 30 minutes. Karen Lee is saying, just wanted to say that lots of women are now stepping up and starting businesses and going into government roles, etc. So lots changing, but much more needed. Absolutely, yep. And as that momentum really starts to pick up, more of us will feel safe, supported, and enabled to step into our power and bring our voice to the fore as well. So keep up the good work, everyone. We're going to make this change. We are making this change. That's the really important thing to remember. Change is happening. Okay. All right. I have talked myself to a standstill. Thank you so much for your company today, Karen Lee and Annette, for joining in earlier. Thank you for your contribution. And I look forward to continuing the discussion next week in the lounge room chat about just what sort of change we can make, what sort of change we want to see to bring into this paradigm shift. If we're going to have opportunity to create the new normal, then let's put some conscious choice. Let's design that new normal. Let's get serious about how we want to see things unroll. We don't have to just bumble along and hope for the best. It's up to us to start making conscious choice about the change we want to see and being the change that we want to see. I'm Linda Emsley from Love Lali. This has been the Lounge Room Chat, and it's been a really fun time. Thank you again, Annette and Karen Lee, for joining in and for contributing your thoughts. Really do appreciate that. I hope to connect with you again next week. I'll see you next Wednesday, 1 p.m. in the Lounge Room Chat. Bye for now.